All right, just like with our other review videos, feel free to fast forward to what you need. Don't feel like you need to watch this whole thing, but hopefully this is helpful for you. All right, so on question 1, they're asking for this outside angle. There's a few different ways to find this, but I'm just going to explain what I think is probably the most straightforward way that you're probably going to make sense of. So the first thing that I would start with, since I don't have 3 angles, I can't do 180 inside the triangle yet, but I do have a linear pair right here. So remember, if I have a linear pair, I can use 180. So I can do 180 minus 155, which will give me this angle as 25. So now I know 2 of the angles in the triangle. So I can use 180 again and subtract 2 angles from the triangle and get 95. All right, that's helping me figure out all the triangle angles. And now we're doing the last piece of the puzzle, which is to figure out this last linear pair. So again, I'll do 180 minus the part of the pair that I know, 95. And this question mark angle is 85 degrees. Okay, question 2, same kind of thing. There's no linear pairs here, but your goal is just to start with whatever you can make the most sense of. So here I see there's 2 triangles. One of the triangles only has 1 angle in it, which means I'm not going to be able to start with this top one. This bottom triangle has 2 angles in it though. So I'm going to go ahead and find that missing angle in the triangle. So this is 60. Now we talked about this the other day. This right here is 90, and this is just triangle sum. If you know the whole thing is 90 and you know that part of it is 60, you can find that other piece. So if I do 90 minus 60, that gives me 30 degrees. And now I have enough information to fill in and find this question mark. So probably my best advice to you is find all the angles that you can. You may not be able to find the question mark angle until the end. So find all the other pieces. So then I'm getting that this is 64 degrees. All right, questions 3 and 4. We talked about this today. If the question is about the inside, that means it probably has to do with 180. So on 3, we've got 3 angles. So this is x plus 37. X plus 67 and 90. Don't forget the 90. That's kind of why I like to draw 3 blanks, honestly, is so I remember all 3 angles. And then you're going to do some algebra in there. So I'm going to move, a few of you, I showed this to you today just to help you with your algebra. All these numbers are on the wrong side, so they need to go over there with a 180. So I'm going to move them over. Minus 37, minus 67, minus 90. And I get negative 14. Then on the left side, I'm left with an x and an x, so that's 2 x's. When you divide by 2, that gives you negative 7. And this question at the very top says to find the missing angle measures if you read the directions up there above 1. So you're going to take negative 7 and you need to plug that back in, which is going to give you angle measures of 30 and of 60 when you plug that in for x. Question 4 is very similar. So if you haven't done 4 already, pause the video and try to set that up for yourself. So I'm going to do that myself. All right, so same thing. I'm going to move the numbers over that are on the wrong side. And again, I'm getting the same thing again. 2 x's equal negative 14. So x is negative 7. And then we'll plug that back in to find the actual angle measures. So if you plug negative 7 back in, that should give you 52 up here. And let's see, negative 7 plus 44 down here. And you could always check that you did that right by adding these numbers, these final numbers back together, and see they get 180. So I know that I did that correctly. All right, questions 5 and 6, they have some different markings on them. So I know this probably still has to do with 180, but there's different markings here which tell me that these are isosceles triangles. So I'm going to do some color coding. I know this 50 goes with this side AC down here. And the other side that's congruent, AB, goes with this angle C here in the corner. So I can go ahead and fill in, even though it's not asking for it, I'm gonna fill in C just so I have it. So now I know 2 of the angles, and I'm trying to find the last one. So we can just subtract that from 180, right? 180 minus 50 minus 50. Some of you add these together and then subtract, you'll get the same answer. So keep doing your same method. But that time I got that X was 80. Okay. Let's see. On question 6, so I'm going to color code again. I've got this green equals that angle, which is the 5x plus 7. And then I have this congruent side is the 52. So I know that these 2 angles are the same, the orange and the green. So even though this is angles, I'm not solving for 180 this time, I'm solving for x. So I'm gonna set this up and say that 5x plus 7, that green angle, is gonna be equal to 52, this other angle that I have, right? We just color coded because this is isosceles, those angles are equal. So like, same kind of strategy. The number's on the wrong side. So 5x is gonna equal 45 when I subtract that over. Then I'm going to divide by 5, and x equals 9. And you could plug that back in just to check for yourself that that is correct, because that would make this angle 52 just like that one is 52. Okay, question 7. On this one, notice this is not isosceles anymore. So like 5 and 6 are both isosceles. I'm just making a note for yourself. Question 7 down here is not isosceles. All 3 sides are the same. It's equilateral. Now, this one is talking about sides, so think to yourself, should that have anything to do with 180? Okay, hopefully your answer is no, that it's sides, so they should be, it has nothing to do with 180. These sides, these congruent marks tell you that these sides are equal to each other. So you're just setting up that equation. 4y minus 3 equals 2y plus 5. Now, for those of you that are still kind of working on the algebra, we want all the variables to be on the left, so I need to move that 2y over. So that's 4 minus 2 is 2y. And this number needs to go this way. And to move that minus 3, I'm going to add it. So 5 plus 3 is going to give you 8. Right? Divide by 2. You all are good at that step. And y is 4. Now the question says find the missing side lengths. So this y is 4. We need to use that back in the equation to figure out how long the sides are. So I'm going to just plug that in. 4 times 4 minus 3. 16 minus 3, so this is 13. Same thing here. 8 plus 5 is going to give me 13. And if you wanted to fill in this other side, because they're all equal, it should also be 13. Okay? All right, let's look at the next page. All right, this part, honestly, like, you just have to know vocabulary. There's not any other way for me to say that. I think you all are getting better at it, though. You can find the missing angle measure here, if that helps you, which it might. So 180 minus, notice I'm just dealing with the angles. I don't care about this 12 on the outside. Minus 43, minus 99. I'm going to get 38. So the first question is this acute, obtuse, right, or equilateral? Or equiangular, sorry. So let's just stick with the first. Acute, obtuse, or right. Well, this has one obtuse angle, so that's going to make it obtuse. It cannot be all of that. So it's only one or the other. And then if all 3 angles are different, that means all 3 sides are going to be different. So this is scalene. Question 9. So the first, is it acute, obtuse, or right? Hopefully you notice that it's right because it's got a 90 right there. And then all 3 angles are different, which is going to mean it's scalene. All right, last question of this kind. Acute, obtuse, or right? I notice all three of these are acute angles, so that's going to make this an acute triangle. I notice two of the angles are the same, and if two are the same, that makes it isosceles. If you wanted to remember like which two, that would mean that this side and go across from this other 56, this side, those two are the same. Okay, 11 and 12, we did this today. List angles and sides from least to greatest. So angles, I mean, holy cow, that should be easy, right? E, G, oh, I said that and then I did them wrong. F is the first one, right? F, E, G, from least to greatest. And then sides, if F is the smallest angle, then GE is the smallest side. If E is the next angle, then across from that is FG, that's the next smallest side. And then across from that, from the 63, is FE. Those of you that color code, if that's hard for you to see, especially when the picture's not super clear, go across, right? Like that's 55, so GE is the next one. And then you could do 62 and get that this was the next side. And then the last side is obviously the one you haven't used yet. All right, same kind of thing on 12. I'll start with, so if I start with sides, the smallest side is YW, which means the smallest angle is angle X across from that. The next smallest side is YX, right? 17, 19, 20. So this 19, YX, is across from angle W. The last side is XW, and this angle that is across from it is angle Y. Use whatever strategy you need to, but those should be pretty easy questions. This last set, last two sections really have a lot to do with reading and then being able to apply that. So I want to just make sure that you're good at reading the directions. So this says sum of exterior, each exterior. This one is asking kind of something different. Number of sides if the sum of interior. Okay, so let's start there and then we'll look at the other questions. Remember, exterior is always 360. Interior is the number of triangles times 180. You remember those? All right, so sum of exterior, well, when it says sum of exterior, it doesn't matter what it says over here. The sum of the exterior is just 360. There's nothing to write there other than 360, so make sure you pay attention to that tomorrow. When it says each exterior, that means I want to do 360 divided by, and I want to cut that into all of its pieces. This one says of a dodecagon, and you do have to know those words. Dodecagon means it has 12 sides, so I'm going to do 360 divided by 12, which means that each angle will be, I think if you divide that, you should get 30 degrees. All right, this last one, 15 on this side, is a little different. It says sum of interior. So total interior is the number of sides minus, let me just write this out, number of sides, number of triangles, and then the last one is we do times 180 to get the total. So this problem, we're kind of working from the bottom up. They give me the total. So the question is, if I work up, what was the number of triangles that I would have had? So you can kind of think, if you're working down, you multiply. So if you work backwards, 1980 divided by 180, that means there were 11 triangles, right? I'm just dividing that and I got 11. So there's 11 triangles. And you can check yourself there. 11 times 180 is 1980. So if there's 11 triangles, think about how many sides that would have been. Remember, you take the number of sides and you go down 2. So if you go down when you're normally working it, if I'm working backwards, I need to be going up. So that means this should have 13 sides. Okay, and you can just kind of think back through that and see if that works. Or you can just keep multiplying things by 180 until you figure out the answer. All right. So again, I'm going to read the directions and highlight what's important. You're usually looking for 3 words. Sum of interior, 1 interior. So sum of interior, that's your triangles and sides. So sides on this one is hexagon is 6. That means the number of triangles is 2 less than that, which is 4, times 180 is going to get me 4 times 180, 720 degrees. Remember, that's your total. On this next question, it's saying interior again, so I'm going to start in the same place. Sides, nonagon has 9 sides. Number of triangles, that's going to be 7, it's 2 less, times 180 for each triangle. Whoa. Typed the wrong thing in. All right, I got 1260. Now 1260 is the total, but this question doesn't say the sum, right, the total, it's asking for 1. So I want to take this number and divide it by the number of sides. And we said that was 9 sides, so I'm going to divide that by 9. And on this one, I got 140 degrees then for each angle. Or you can make a note for yourself that that's for 1 angle. Okay, make sure you know the difference between those and rewatch that section if you need to make sense of that. All right, 18 through 21. These are kind of like what we did before, except notice these are not triangles. So these do not add to 180, they're going to add to something else. Now, they are interior on a lot of them. So like on 18, I'm going to make a note. This is interior. And this has, so I'm going to list this out. I've got 5 sides, which means there's 3 triangles times 180. 3 times 180 is 540. So the way you set this problem up is that when you add all of these, they should equal 540. So I'm gonna set that up. 2, 3, 4, 5. I just like to draw blanks so I don't forget anything. Equals 540. 2x, I'm just gonna go around the circle. 84, 2x, 110, 90. All right, then if you do the algebra for that, so if you know the algebra, skip past what I'm doing and just check the answer here in a minute. All these numbers are in the wrong place, so I'm going to subtract them over. 540 minus 84 minus 110 minus 90. All right, that's 256. And 2x and 2x, so equals 256. This is 4x. And then I'm going to divide by 4. And my calculator is telling me that x is then 64. So that's your final answer here. All right, I'm going to switch colors just so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. On question 19, again, this is interior, right? All those angles are inside, which means I'm going to do 4 sides, which is 2 triangles, times 180. So this is going to add to be 360, right? You can use your calculator to check me on that if you want. So I'm going to add 4 angles this time because it just has 4 equals 360. My 4 angles are 90, 142, x, and 90. So I'm going to subtract out all those numbers that don't belong. Would help if I hit the subtraction button. So I got equals 38. And now there's only 1 x left over here, so that's just x. You can put a 1 there and divide by 1 if you want to, but that's the final answer. That is what x equals. All right, let's try, I'm going to do 21 also because this is kind of in the same vein here. This is interior. It has 6 sides, which means it has 4 triangles. Each triangle is 180. So if you multiply that, that's going to give you 720. So this side, this time there's 6 of them, right? So draw 6 blanks. 2, 3. All right, if you can, pause the video and take a second to work ahead of me to fill it all that in and see if you get the same thing that I do. All right, so I've got 90, Y, another Y, another 90, another Y, and another Y. I'm gonna move these 90s over because they're not where they belong. So that equals 540 when I subtract them. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 Y's. And then I can divide. And I got Y equals 135. Okay, hopefully that kind of pattern is making sense to you on 18, 19, and 21. 22 is just a little bit different. And the difference, hopefully you see on 22, these are not interior, they are exterior. And remember that exterior, would help if I spelled that right, exterior is always 360, no matter how many sides it has. So on this, there just happen to be 4 sides, so I'm going to draw 4 blanks, and it's going to equal 360. So I'm going to fill those in. M plus 2, 3M, 2M, 100. My 2 and my 100 are on the wrong side. So 360, I'm going to subtract the 2 over, subtract the 100 over. That's going to give me 258. And now count how many M's you have left. There's 2 here, and then 3 more, and then another one. So hopefully you're counting 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6M. And now I'm at the end of my problem. Divide by 6. M equals 43. Notice that it's really important on these last ones. It's very important if you identify whether what they're giving you is interior or exterior, because that changes what you set it equal to. And notice also that for interior, it's going to equal something different every time. Like you have to figure out what that equals because it's not 180 unless it's a triangle. Come see me in the morning if you have any questions.